If you're an MBA aspirant or you're thinking about trying for an MBA, it is possible that you have looked at different types of MBA programs and you're wondering what they're all about. More importantly, how they are different and which one is the right one for you. Now, in this video, we are going to talk about the basic categories of MBA programs in India primarily, because when it comes to the international market, then there are many different types and then it gets very confusing. So let's focus on India because that is where many of our interests lie. Let's start with first defining the types of MBA programs that are available to you in India. The first one is the one-year MBA. Now, this is something that a lot of students have not actually heard of, but it is there and it has been around for quite some time. The more popular and the traditional MBA is the two-year MBA. This is probably the one that most of you are looking at. But then, with the popularity of online learning, we also have something called a hybrid MBA program. This is a little bit newer and we are going to be sharing some information about hybrid MBAs and whom they are suitable for. Let's first talk about the one-year MBA program. Now, whom is this one-year MBA program meant for? This is typically meant for people who have some degree of work experience. Now, this some degree typically is about 2 years or more. Different programs will have different eligibility requirements, so you will need to check. But the reason that they require some degree of work experience is that this program tends to pack in quite a punch in that 1 year. It's pretty intensive, and unless you're already a little bit familiar with the professional arena, you might find it a bit challenging. Now, the other part is that this program is typically meant for someone who's looking at a mid-level or a senior managerial position, which means that this is meant for someone who's already past the entry-level position. A lot of these programs are going to give you information that will build upon your leadership skills, and they will help you gain those positions of responsibility that you may not have achieved in your career so far. And finally, these programs are meant for people who already have some clarity about what functional specialization they would prefer, whether they want to pursue marketing or finance, and also have some clarity on the career goals that they want to pursue. So if you're not very clear on which direction you want your career to go, then the one-year program may not be right for you. Now let's evaluate the pros and cons of the one-year MBA. The most important pro, obviously, is that it is just 1 year. So you start making money a little bit faster than if you had joined the 2-year program. So this is a significant benefit. The second advantage is that this is suitable for professionals who are past the entry-level position. Now, why is this important? See, a lot of us who do the 2-year MBA are probably going to gain an entry into a managerial position, but it's not going to be a very advanced managerial position. It will be an entry-level managerial position. But you're already there. So are you going to want to repeat that experience? No. So the one-year MBA is going to offer you a career advance. This is the other significant benefit. Then it will help you form some very strong industry connections and networks because your cohort is also going to consist of people like you. These are people who have already worked in different industries. They will come with very diverse experiences and there will be a lot of learning that you can probably take away from the program. And very importantly, I'm not sure if you have thought about this, but there are fewer people who aspire for the one-year MBA. And because there are fewer people, the program, at least the selection part, is a little less competitive. It is not necessarily because the institute is being less choosy. It's not that. It's just that you have to compete with fewer people. So you will still have to submit a test score, you will still have to submit an application, and they will evaluate your credentials very carefully. So there will be no compromise on any of that. It's just a numbers game. Since you're competing with fewer people, therefore you might have a slightly higher chance of getting through. Now let's take a look at the cons. First of all, the program, as I mentioned, is fast-paced, it's pretty intense, so you already need to have some experience on how to multitask and manage multiple deadlines. Secondly, it will give you limited time to build your CV because you have to pack everything into 1 year. So there's very little time for internships or upgrading your skills or participating in student activities. Of course, you can try to do that, but again, you may not have too much time. And finally, Since they will expect you to already have a few connections in the industry, there is comparatively less placement support. So the placement process may not always be as structured as it is in the 2-year program. Of course, they will help you get placed, but it is more of a benefit or an advantage than something that is normally and naturally going to happen. So please make sure that when you go for a 1-year program, you know what you're signing up for. Now let's take a look at the 2-year MBA. The 2-year MBA is obviously meant for pretty much everyone. Whether you're a recent graduate or you are a professional in the early stages of your career, the 2-year MBA is open to you. It is generally going to lead you to entry-level managerial roles because you're not coming with too much work experience. And it will probably be meant for people who do not have too much functional knowledge. So for example, let's say that if you are an engineer, you may not have much exposure to the field of management, but for some reason, you decide that you're suitable for the field of finance, but you don't have any experience in the field. How are you going to build your knowledge and your experience? Through the 2-year MBA program. So if you do not have too much certainty about what you are signing up for, then the 2-year MBA gives you a chance to explore that. Now, let's take a look at the pros and cons of the 2-year MBA. First, you have more time to explore career options, which is why if you're a recent graduate and you're not very sure of what kind of a career progression you're looking at, the 2-year MBA will allow you to make a choice. Then you have a lot of exposure to positions of responsibility. I know that a lot of us believe that handling the college fest is a big deal. But then trust me, the kind of responsibility that you have to handle in the professional world is far greater. And you can't simply step into that without having any experience whatsoever. The 2-year MBA is going to allow you to experience that, not necessarily through work experience all the time, but also by being a part of student activities, participating in different committees, and handling responsibilities within these committees. Then you have a lot more opportunities for enhancing your CV through internships, live projects, competitions, and so on. So if your CV is too plain and simple, then the 2-year MBA is for you. And then, this is the best part for most of us, there is very strong placement support, particularly if you make it to a top-tier college. There is a structured placement program, and since they don't really expect you to have too many contacts in the industry, they are going to help you get placed. In some cases, maybe even try to push your CV if they feel that there is need for it. Now let's take a look at the cons. The first, most important con is that there is a lot of competition. Because the 2-year MBA is far more popular, there are a lot more people vying for the same seats. So every year, we know that somewhere around 1.5 to 2.5 lakh people take CAT. And this is just one exam. If we consider all the others, then maybe there will be a lot more added to that number. But the point is that because of the competition, it is slightly more difficult to get into a top-tier college. Secondly, because you're investing 2 years of your life into it, the opportunity cost is a little higher. So you have to make sure that you're getting into the right college so that those 2 years are worth it. Now, let's take a look at the hybrid MBA. As I said, this is something of a recent addition. In the past also, there were what we called part-time programs, but the part-time programs actually required you to attend classes, say, on the weekends. But now with the hybrid model, what we have been able to do is to opt for some sort of a balance between your professional life and still give you a glimpse of what an MBA program on campus might be like. So this program is designed for people who are working, who don't want to quit their jobs, or maybe entrepreneurs who are looking to upgrade their managerial or their business leadership skills. So please remember that the hybrid MBA is primarily meant for upskilling. This is not necessarily meant for people who are looking for a very significant career change. Now, as I said, this hybrid model, it may include weekend classes, but in addition to that, there are online components and there are also on-campus components. So you will get a feel of the campus as a part of the program. Let's take a look at the pros and cons. The major pro is that you have a flexible learning schedule. You can complete these programs in 2 years, in some cases 3 years, and some of them will even allow you the flexibility of completing it in 5 years. So, in case you are short on time, then this is the program for you. The cost of these programs is significantly lower than your full-time programs. So, this is a significant benefit. And for those who don't have time to or inclination to quit their jobs, then this is probably the only choice you have to get an MBA. Now let's take a look at the cons. First of all, recruiters are probably still going to prefer full-time MBA grads. So that's why I said that if you're looking for a significant career shift, maybe the hybrid MBA program is not the one for you. Secondly, it will not allow you to bring about major changes in your career because ultimately it's not a full-time MBA. So evaluate the pros and cons for all three programs, figure out what you want and which is the one suitable for you. Now let me try to sum up the choices for you. You should go for a one-year MBA if you have maybe more than 3+ years of work experience and you want a career boost. And also, if you are willing to upgrade your skills but you're not necessarily looking for a lot of help with your placements. Opt for a 2-year MBA if you are a fresher, a recent graduate that is, or you're an early career professional who is looking for internships, full exposure, and you're basically trying to make the most out of the MBA experience. And finally, we have the hybrid MBA. This is meant for people who simply want to upgrade their skills but are not looking for a significant career change. So, evaluate the options and pick the program that is right for you.